What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Batman and Robin, issue number 6. This one is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Nicola. I am not even going to bother pronouncing that last name because I don't quite know how. Nicola C. And this one, again, takes place after the events of the previous issue, issue 5, if you will, because we did have an annual in between issues, which the annual is kind of a more standalone thing. And basically, there was this kid named Zach who was on the soccer team, which Damian was just kind of a part of. And when Damian went to kick a goal, he had ridiculous, ninja-like skills to kind of stop him from kicking this thing. I mean, Damian just couldn't handle the fact at first that some kid was able to stop him from scoring a goal despite never playing soccer in his life. And he's like, there's got to be some explanation for it. And of course, we come to later find out that he has some sort of obsession with Victor Zsasz. And he has some sort of training, if you will. And Damian believes that's this character, Mistress Harsh, a.k.a. Shush, who he thinks is his principal, who's also the soccer coach and all that, but she still kind of denies that whole thing. But anyway, so they go to investigate. You know, the kid's a straight-A student, very smart and gifted in all sorts of abilities. And he tries to free Zsasz at one point, believing that Zsasz is his father. But we also come to find out that Zsasz actually isn't his father and that Zsasz actually killed his parents. And there's a lot of psychological, he psychologically kind of repressed that memory, and kind of his means of coping with it was to believe Zsasz was his father. So he's a very severely damaged child, if you will. And so Batman beats up Zsasz, and the kid is kind of taking it to get some sort of help. But Damian's like, look, we got to get him some help, but clearly he had some sort of training, and it's got to be my old master within the League of Assassins. So Damian goes there, back to the soccer team. They're now missing their goalie, and the Principal Stone, or who Damian believes is Mistress Harsh, and all that is like, oh, hey, Damian, nice of you to finally join us. She denies that she is this person. And then, of course, the douchey bully comes in to be the douchey bully to Damian, and I'm just waiting each and every issue for him to kind of kick this kid's ass at some point. It's going to happen at some point. He's been pushing way too many buttons and kind of getting away with it, and Damian's obviously showing some sort of restraint, but you know that receipt's coming at some point. He even makes fun of him, picks on him in front of Bruce, and you can tell the rage is within Damian, but he's a lot more mature and kind of able to restrain himself a bit too. And after this, we get this moment of Damian, who's kind of off on his own, drawing his own little fan fiction book of himself, and Bruce comes in to talk with him. And I kind of like that we get a bit of a bit of a dorkier side to Damian, because he's always been a bit of a social outcast, obviously, never having really grown up around other kids. And obviously, once he joined the Bat family and all that, he was able to kind of socialize himself more and more. But now he's kind of in the more so everyday setting on his own. He doesn't have really any of his prior friends outside of capes and cowls to kind of guide him along this path. And as he's gotten older, he's made more friends and acquaintances as he's gotten along. But I always kind of like the idea that when he's kind of feeling down and not really in a good mood, he kind of draws in that too, because obviously he's had the skills and he's doing his own little self-insert fan fiction. And Bruce kind of questions, hey, why did that kid call you Art Boy and all that stuff? And Bruce goes to look at his book, and I don't know, you can get a little bit of secondhand embarrassment because some of it is pretty cringy, but I guess that is kind of the point. Damian literally drawing his own Damian Wayne fan fiction, and he brings in Anika's obviously, Flatline's a character within it, and his art style is pretty good, and Bruce is pretty impressed by that bit too. And he's like, oh, maybe I should do this. And you can see him, he's a little hesitant to show him, but he's kind of excited in the end for his father to kind of see it. He's like, oh, I should do all this stuff. And Bruce also has a conversation with him about, hey, you know what? I never had this type of life when I was younger, but I shouldn't try to force this thing on you. If you don't really want us to go to school, you don't have to. But before Damian can kind of respond, it seems that he's kind of growing to admire going to school in a way. There's a little bit of hesitancy on his part, and like I said, the father and son bonding moments, it's nice to see. This is the most involved I feel like we've ever really seen Bruce just kind of being a single dad for once, because Alfred's always been there as kind of a buffer, and this is other members of the Bat family are kind of off doing their own things. Now, I'm not even going to try and make sense of the continuity of this, because you got this, you got the main Batman book, and then you got Detective Comics, and I'm not sure how it all works, but I'd rather have a much more likable, better paternal father figure Bruce Wayne than whatever is going on in the other stuff with him mind controlled her. Maybe this is after all the Zerna stuff's out of his head and he doesn't have the Asmir demons and all that stuff with the other books, so at least there's that. But yeah, so you feel the better father and son moments right there. They go to investigate a whole man bat situation, and like as they're about ready to fight, the gang is taken out by none other than Flatline, who finally returns to reunite with Damian for the first time since the events of the Robin book. And he's all happy, and he's holding her in her arms, and she's kind of saying something flirtatious, and Bruce kind of gives this look of like like a smile, like he's happy for his son. He's like, oh, you're gonna introduce us to your friend's son. So I mean, yeah, Bruce being a proud happy dad is kind of something that you don't really get too much of in the main universe, but like it's kind of nice to see that side showcase of him. Now I will say this, I don't know if anyone really like follows stuff on Twitter, but man, like so like some people freaked out when this panel was kind of leaked the other day. Unfortunately, it was kind of spoiled for me before reading the issue, and saying that, oh, look at, she's harassing him and stuff. I'm like, it's not the case at all. So I don't know, I feel like I should have just mentioned that if you're like on Twitter at all, but like some people freak out over just the littlest things. But yeah, I mean, look at him, he's happy, he's excited to see her, and that's that. Like, I mean, he's literally writes her into his fan fiction book. Like, he makes her a character because he misses her. So it'll be interesting to see how Bruce reacts to Flatline, depending on how Williamson writes it. Obviously, she has more of a criminal past too, which we've already had Talia like meet her, or we'll find out about her and Roz as well. But now it's the other side of Bruce getting the chance to meet her. Will she stick around in the book long term, or is she only going to be a temporary thing or whatnot? It does raise a bunch of questions. But Flatline is back, and it has been a while since the two of them have interacted. This is all the way back at the end of Robin, and last year we had Batman versus Robin, and now we have Batman and Robin. So they haven't interacted in a while, so it'll be interesting to see like how they are towards each other. Obviously, Damian has clearly missed her. I mean, he writes her into his fan fiction book, and we also have the whole situation with Nika, aka Flatline, and how if you read some of the Lazarus Planet tie-ins, she seems to have some sort of connection with Ra's al Ghul. Like, she was kind of drawn to someplace, and she found him in this little urn, if you will, so he's sort of resurrected, but maybe she just sees the ghost or spirit of him all. I'd be curious to see how that all kind of ties into each other, so we'll find out, I guess, in the next issue, but Flatline is back. Some people will be excited about that, others won't, I can tell. But yeah, so I did like this issue overall. The first portion with the whole Victor Zsasz son thing, that felt kind of quick and wrapped itself up, but like the more stuff I enjoy is the stuff with them outside the cape and cowl at times. I did like the art this time around. It's very different from Simone DeMeo's artwork. It's a lot more clear to understand like the facial expressions and emotions of the characters, I think. I mean, Damien's a lot more expressive. You can kind of tell what he's thinking, or Bruce in general as well. There was one bit of the issue that did kind of bug me, and that's when Damian confronts Mistress Harsh, or who he thinks that is, in front of everyone. Like, why? Like, do you think everyone would be like, hey, who the heck is this? How do you know about some sort of assassin? Like, that leads too many questions. His emotions got the better of him, and it would have been smarter for him to confront this, like, Principal Stone or whatever, not in front of everyone else, too. And, yeah, we have the tropey kind of bully stuff, but I'm just kind of waiting for the moment when Damian snaps and just beats the hell out of that kid. It's been building, and it's going to be pretty fun and satisfying to watch when it does, but will he get expelled for it? Is it going to happen outside of school? And then you had other kids that he's kind of, like, the only other friend he sort of made is that girl Erica in the last issue, but we'll see how that all turns out. Is Flatline going to stick around? Because with her situation, she has the like, if she could find a way to kind of morph, if you will. I mean, because when we went to her origin all the way back to the Robin annual, we saw how she kind of like looked very different before, and then before she turned into like the skeleton looking face, like the face paint, if you will. Is there a way for her to kind of like switch her powers on and off? To where she doesn't have to necessarily look like that all the time, like the skull makeup and all that. Like, can she go back to her like Flatline power activated days where she was just this Russian girl with black hair and she didn't have like the face paint looking stuff, if you will? So I wonder if that's a possibility. Like, will she join Damien's school? Because when she looks the way she's looking right now, I mean, you kind of stand out in a situation like that. So who knows what'll happen, unless she does some sort of like enchantment charm that kind of hides the way she looks to everyone else, like they did in Young Justice. I don't exactly know. I'm just kind of speculating on a few things. So, like I said, I did enjoy this issue overall. It's the outside the costume elements, which I like the most about this book. It's nice to see Bruce as a more supportive parent for once, because we've had so many years where that wasn't really the case, and he's kind of forced to step up here. And yeah, like, this doesn't necessarily fit as well, like, given all the other stuff that's going on in the other books. It feels very, like, distinctly different. But at the same time, I'll take a more likable, better parent Bruce Wayne over one that's just completely unhinged and kind of lost it. So it's nice to get that side of Bruce. So it's a bit different. Obviously, Alfred's not there as the buffer, but we are getting a better father, parental figure Bruce Wayne than we have had in, at least that I can remember, in the main continuity for the first time in a while. So that's a plus for me, and I'm excited to see what Flatline brings to the next issue with them kind of meeting for the first time. So that'll be kind of fun. And plus you have the Shush or whatever stuff going on there. I still think Shush is a dumb name, but why is, like, Damian's former teacher or whatever at this high school? So many questions. But anyways, what did you all think of Batman and Robin issue number 6? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, all the other fun stuff. I still got maybe like one more Batman comic book. I think that's the Joker Year 1 Part 2 issue that's out today as well. So I'll try to talk about that one. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.